Spiritual energy is revived, and heaven and earth are still weak. Chen Shanhai has obtained the two precious realms of pearls, and can travel back and forth to the world of high martial arts. This world is abundant in resources, with an extremely high world level, but a very low level of civilization. Ordinary things on earth are incredibly precious over there. Chen Shanhai constantly travels back and forth between the two realms with the earth's resources in hand, in exchange for a huge supply of resources to support himself. Dantian equips the Sea of Qi. Spirit reflects the universe. Shattered flesh into the void. Years later, the world's top powerhouses will be interviewed. His mother, just a few years after the revival of Reiki, he has become a saint in his body and roamed the universe. How can we compare this? Chen Shanhai is alive, and no one dares to call himself a genius. Hate and Chen Shanhai were born in the same generation, and since they were born into you, how could they be born into Liang? Faced with everyone's unwillingness, Chen Shanhai just chuckled and said, "Having a world, success is natural." Keywords of the novel. People in low martial arts. I have a high martial arts world with no pop-ups, people in low martial arts. I have a high martial arts world. Download the complete TXT collection, people in low martial arts. I have the latest chapter of the high martial arts world to read. Chapter 1. Shuttle. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Shuttle at noon, in the Yang Martial Arts School. Chen Shanhai was wearing a black training suit, with powerful punches and legs, and a constant sound of breaking through the air. After finishing his work and exhaling, he sighed. I've been practicing martial arts for a year, but I'm still far from Mingjin. It's too slow. Just a year ago, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth revived, and all things began to evolve in a frenzy. More and more creatures with incredible strength are emerging. They are powerful enough to crack mountains and rocks, and they have various powers that humans cannot understand. And humans naturally are not willing to fall behind. The traditional Chinese martial arts, which were originally only learned by people with extraordinary talents, can even strengthen the body and keep fit for ordinary people after their spiritual energy recovers. This has led to a new round of evolutionary advancement for humans, who were originally physically weak. Although not comparable to those awakened beings who resemble the chosen ones, they can still elevate their life level. Longevity and longevity are not affected by diseases, but rather by leisure. Everyone knows that the evolution of life in the future will be the main theme. After all, according to experts, if spiritual energy is revived more than once, the power of individual beings in the future world will be infinitely enhanced. In such a big world, how could Chen Shanhai not work hard? Xiao Hai, you're still practicing. Upon hearing the sound in his ear, Chen Shanhai turned his head to look. Seeing the figure in front of him, he couldn't help but smile bitterly and shake his head, saying, "Yes, Brother Wang. If you don't have talent, you can only work hard to make up for it." The person in front of him had a cut in his head, and his white training suit was not very loose on him. A powerful aura rushed towards him. In fact, as his name suggests, he is called Wang Meng and his strength is even stronger. Before the revival of spiritual energy, he had already mastered profound Chinese martial arts. At the age of only 27, he was already a dark martial artist who could easily defeat dozens of great men alone. You have good qualifications, but you don't have enough nourishment. It's difficult to feel the surge of power and make that sound when your qi and blood are less than 2 cards. Wang Meng shook his head. How much qi and blood do you have now? About 1.5 calories. I also know your family background. If you really can't give up practicing martial arts, it's not just talk about being poor and rich in martial arts. It's difficult to become famous without enough resources, and it's also easy to harm your health. How could Wang Meng not be unaware of Chen Shanhai's words? Just a little unwilling. Seeing Chen Shanhai's expression, Wang Meng knew what he was thinking and reluctantly patted his shoulder. I know you're not willing, but... Hey, forget it, come on. Brother Wang, we are not awakened, unlike them who are unique in nature. It would be great to have a way to become stronger, and no one wants to be washed down in this rolling current. Chen Shanhai's face was serious. Even if there aren't enough resources, I want to give it a try. Wang Meng wanted to say something more, but suddenly an untimely voice came over. Old Wang, this kid doesn't have resources and talent, so why do you say so much? The two of them followed the sound and saw a middle-aged man in his 30s walking towards them with a helpless expression on his face. He looked at Chen Shanhai and shook his head. Why don't you have the time to teach Li Qi? That kid has good talent, and the gym owner has mentioned the key cultivation, so that he can represent our martial arts school to achieve good results in the Guangzhou Youth Martial Arts Competition. Faced with this person's sarcasm, Chen Shanhai could only remain silent. After all, what they say is true. In addition, he is a master of energy transformation, a first-order powerhouse, and a talent who enjoys special subsidies from the state. Even if he doesn't do anything, he has no worries about food and clothing. He is completely from the same social class as himself. I'm just sorry, he worked so hard, Wang Meng said. There are too many hard-working people, and if their efforts are useful, what do they need geniuses to do or resources to do? It's just a mediocre way to numb themselves. Oh no, I won't tell you anymore. It's even harder for him to become successful, let alone higher. We're a martial arts school, not a charity organization. After speaking, the person left with a helpless expression on their face. Only Wang Meng and Chen Shanhai remained standing in place. Wang Meng shook his head helplessly and looked at Chen Shanhai beside him, comforting him, don't worry about him. After practicing for 3 to 5 years, there is still hope for Mingjin. After speaking, he turned around and left directly. Faced with that person's denial, Chen Shanhai had no hostility in his heart. Because what they say is true. Just feeling a little uncomfortable in my heart. Hey, talents and resources. Li Qi, who belongs to the same group as himself, also comes from an ordinary family background, but his talent is very good and he is favored by the museum owner. So there is 1.1 guidance from senior brother Dark Power, and weekly guidance from those who are strong in transforming energy. Various martial arts training resources are also provided by martial arts schools. The actual benefits have been fully paid. The gap with oneself is naturally getting bigger and bigger. Shaking his head without further thought, he left the martial arts school and walked towards home. Just as I was leaving the martial arts school, my phone suddenly beeped. Upon opening it, it turned out to be a message from my mother. There's no salt at home, buy a bag of salt. Got it. Coming out of the supermarket, looking at the bag of salt in my hand, I felt a sigh in my heart. If only the resources for practicing martial arts were as cheap as this bag of salt. Chen Shanhai couldn't help but laugh at his whimsical idea. Looking at a black bead on the ground. Ignoring it, he kicked it over like a regular stone. But suddenly, the bead penetrated the shoe and blended with the body. Sleeping slot. Chen Shanhai couldn't help but scream in surprise. Before he could react, a black circular imprint appeared on the back of his right hand, faintly visible. At the same time, a wave of information enters the mind. 2 realms of pearls, shuttle between 2 realms, contain inner space. Ah! At this moment, Chen Shanhai was still confused. He quickly returned home and threw the salt in his hand onto the dining table. He said, "Don't make my meal anymore," and then returned to the bedroom. The mother in the kitchen peeked out and glanced. Crazy and talkative. But at this moment, Chen Shanhai had completely ignored it. In the bedroom, Chen Shanhai looked at the black mark on the back of his right hand and thought to himself. As the world in my eyes blurred slightly, in the next moment, my consciousness seemed to rise and shuttle, seeing a vast sea of white clouds below. There is no sense of floating, only a rapid descent. As the sea of clouds breaks open, the vast and boundless continent below also presents itself. Suddenly, a giant bird with a body length of 10,000 meters flew away beside him. A giant island on the sea is slowly moving. No, I can feel it moving at my own height, how fast it must be. Chen Shanhai was shocked in his heart. And as the field of view continues to fall, he saw a large snake coiled around the entire mountain. There is also a red 9-headed bird rushing out of the volcano to bathe in the radiance of the sun. Even mountain beasts are galloping through the continent. What kind of world is this? Before Chen Shanhai could think it over, the rapid descent made it almost reach the ground. A strong fear of heights and the great terror of facing death surged in my heart. Chen Shanhai couldn't help but scream, but couldn't make any sound. It seems that I am just a conscious wanderer without a physical body. As Chen Shanhai's distance from the ground grew closer and closer, his instinctive struggle was still in vain. Finally, reaching the ground. There is no imagined excruciating pain, nor is there death. Open your eyes and be in the lush forest. Trees with a diameter of 7 or 8 meters are scattered all over the ground, and ladybugs the size of a grinding will fly past. What surprised Chen Shanhai even more was a red rooster over 2 meters tall. As one mouthful fell, the flying 7-starred ladybug instantly died. As the rooster turned his gaze towards him, Chen Shanhai's heart sank. With the strength demonstrated by this chicken, at least Mingjin's strength is needed to kill it. This kind of killing is not a harmless killing, but a life and death struggle. With my own strength that has not yet reached Mingjin, it is dangerous. Didn't he just come and die? Just as Chen Shanhai was unwilling in his heart, a sound suddenly moved from far to near. As the red rooster turned its head to look, it only saw a giant who was 2.3 meters tall and dressed in animal skin jump up, and a huge right fist hit it fiercely. Cluck! The big rooster let out a scream, but soon died under the giant's fist. Then, the giant turned around and looked down at Chen Shan, who was dressed differently, at the sea. A big tribe. New book set sale, seeking collection, seeking recommended tickets. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Tribal Era. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Tribal Era. Faced with the giant's question, Chen Shanhai's face remained unchanged, but in reality, he began brainstorming. Why can I understand his words? I have neither learned nor heard of it. Is it because of the two realms pearl? Take a look at him up and down. Wearing animal skin, the body's muscles exploded with immense strength, but its two large eyes were full of doubt and clarity. And what about myself? He is 1.83 meters tall and wearing a black training suit. No matter how you look at it, you know they are different. He just asked my tribe, is he a member of the tribe? Chen Shanhai pondered in his heart. A person's question will not go beyond their own cognition. He asked this question, obviously suspecting that he was from a large tribe, but not certain. Is it because of clothing? Although the material of my training suit is not good, it is obviously several different levels of civilization from animal skin clothing. Be careful when you first arrive. I come from a faraway tribe and got lost when I encountered a giant beast and my companions. Chen Shanhai replied. Listening to the strange notes he made, Chen Shanhai was shocked in his heart. I actually spoke language that I had never heard before. The giant reached out and scratched the back of his head upon hearing this. There's a bit of itching at the back, it's probably because my brain isn't enough. Oh, my Tukra is really smart. You can tell at a glance that you're not from here. Tukra. What kind of ghost name? When Chen Shanhai was complaining in his heart, Tukra walked forward a few steps to him and slapped him on the shoulder. A strong force almost made Chen Shanhai unable to stand firm. Upon seeing this situation, Tukra quickly apologized and felt a bit at a loss as he rubbed his head. Are the people from your tribes outside so weak? Chen Shanhai was speechless in his heart and nodded. Are all the people here as powerful as you? Ah. I'm not good at it. Tukra quickly waved his hand. I'm just at the level of an ordinary person in our tribe. I'm not a warrior, I'm very weak. Very weak. Can you easily kill a strange beast that even a powerful warrior would have to fight for life and death? Do you have any misunderstandings about weakness? But what if what he said is true? Chen Shanhai thought to himself. A world where an ordinary person can easily defeat Mingjin. This world suddenly, Chen Shanhai was taken aback. I haven't experienced it before due to various reasons. Now sensing himself, Chen Shanhai suddenly found that his qi and blood cells had become active. The circulation of body strength becomes apparent, as if it will break through Mingjin in the next moment. This world has a powerful effect on physical growth. Chen Shanhai was shocked in his heart. Even an ordinary person with 1.5 points of qi and blood can feel the surging and powerful flow of qi and blood. You should know that on Earth, this is something that dark energy and even chemical energy can do. Just as Chen Shanhai was thinking, Tu Kila took out a piece of animal meat from behind and handed it over. You haven't eaten anything yet, I'll give you this to eat. Seeing the black beast meat on his big palm, Chen Shanhai originally refused. But looking at Tukra's sincere expression, he still took it and said thank you. Upon hearing his gratitude, Tu Kila chuckled and touched the back of his neck, saying simply, you don't need to thank me. Seeing his appearance, Chen Shanhai felt relieved and looked down at the food in front of him. A kind of unknown creature's flesh, black, as if there were many small stones. Chen Shanhai frowned and tore a small piece into the entrance. Very old, difficult to chew, the taste is very strange. A salty and fishy taste made it difficult for Chen Shanhai to adapt. I reluctantly swallowed it, but I couldn't bear the unpleasant taste. Just as he wanted to return it, a warm current spread from his stomach. Chen Shanhai felt that the qi and blood that had already become active in this world became more active, like a bonfire with firewood added, becoming even more vigorous. Even the physical strength has increased to a certain extent. Although very small, there are indeed. Chen Shanhai was stunned. This piece of meat, the supplement to qi and blood, is really strong, and it is very helpful for refining the body. If I had used this kind of meat to practice martial arts from the beginning, not to mention a lot, 1 yuan a month, and ate 12 yuan, I would have had 3 or 4 health cards now. Chen Shanhai felt a little excited in his heart. If I eat more and try my best to operate my body, not to mention my energy, there is hope for energy conversion. Do you have a lot of this kind of meat here? Tukra hesitated for a moment and said in confusion, isn't this kind of meat everywhere? Killing any exotic beast is better than this. Chen Shanhai was shocked in his heart. I thought this kind of meat was precious, but who knew it wasn't just the worst batch? But if that's the case, this world is really a big treasure trove. Resources, huge resources. A world conducive to physical cultivation, coupled with these resources, if one can practice martial arts in this world, then one will travel thousands of miles in a day. But now there is still a practical problem ahead of us. How can we survive? There is no doubt that this world is very dangerous. I am still very weak and do not have the ability to survive in this world. Just as Chen Shanhai was thinking, Tu Kila next to him glanced at the killed red rooster and then at Chen Shanhai. After hesitating for a moment, he said, I'm going back to the tribe. It's best for you to leave quickly, as there will be monsters lured by the smell of blood around you soon. Chen Shanhai was stunned for a moment, glanced at Tu Kila, and then whispered, but I don't know where to go. Tukra suddenly remembered that the person in front of him had separated from his tribe. Scratching his head, he felt like it wasn't good to leave him behind. But casually bringing people into the tribe is not allowed by the clan leader. At that time, there will inevitably be a scolding. But it's not good to have him wait here alone to die. After hesitating for a moment, Tukra gritted his teeth and said, "Okay, I'll take you back to our tribe, but we'll have to wait. I'll take this big rooster to the market to exchange for some salt stones." Hearing that he was willing to bring himself, Chen Shanhai breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. However, upon hearing his words, I also had some doubts in my heart. Salt stone. Yes, just salty little stones, don't you have them? Tukra looked puzzled. Chen Shanhai was stunned. I really don't have this thing myself, but the salt thing yes. Before the method of making sea salt in ancient times, salt was a precious resource. And when I was crossing here, I noticed that there was no sea around. Since there is no sea, there is no way to talk about sea salt. Salt mines and salt lakes are extremely rare, but they are also essential elements for the human body. Looking at the big rooster behind him, Chen Shanhai curiously asked, "How much salt can this chicken exchange for?" Tu Kila scratched his head and said, "If a chicken that big were exchanged for salt stones, could it be as big as a chicken head? Is the chicken head that big? A chicken that is 2 meters tall has a relatively small head. The proportion of chicken heads is very small on the entire chicken. This place is short of salt." Chen Shanhai felt a sense of joy in his heart. This place is not lacking in the earth. Which meat from this chicken has a better effect on body building compared to the one you gave me? Chicken. This is stable. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Fine Salt, The Gap of Times. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This translator is experiencing an error, please try another translator. Chapter 4. Breaking Through Mingjin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Breaking Through Mingjin. When Tushan announced his decision, everyone present was bewildered. What kind of thing? Not only did he stay here for a long time, but he also managed enough food. What a joke. Chief, why? Scared face puzzled, while others also looked puzzled. But Tushan did not respond to their ideas. Tu Kola, this distinguished guest was brought by you and is also most familiar to you. You can now go to the residential area to find an empty room for the distinguished guest to live in. Tushan opened his mouth, trembling as he collected the fine salt. Rubble and scratch your head with dirt. Oh, good. He looked at Chen Shanhai and said, "Follow me." Chen Shanhai nodded and then followed Tu Kila into the tribe. But the few people at the entrance of the tribe still haven't left. After wrapping the fine salt in the soil, Tushan waved at the cane on the ground, and immediately someone picked it up and handed it over. Looking at the 4 people in front of him who were puzzled, Tushan sighed and said, "You guys, I've already said you're going to the big tribe to see the world, but you're not going." Faced with the scolding from Tushan, no one dared to refute it, but there were still some who couldn't understand and said, "Chief, is the thing he gave precious?" "It's not just precious." Tushan squinted his eyes. "I'm not clear with you, as long as you know this transaction, we definitely won't lose. This is not an ordinary person from a large tribe, it is very likely that he comes from a city-state and is a nobleman in the city-state. City-state. Several people looked at each other. They have no concept of big tribes, let alone city-states. But they also understood the meaning of Tushan, which is that this thing is indeed very precious. The precious beast meat is not worth mentioning, allowing Chen Shanhai to eat it freely, and it was they who took a big advantage. On the other side, Tu Kila is walking through the tribe with Chen Shanhai. Along the way, many people in the tribe looked curiously at Chen Shanhai. They had never seen such a delicate and tender person before, and their clothes seemed much better than theirs. It's just a bit short. When they observed Chen Shanhai, he naturally also observed them. Here, males are generally 2.3 meters tall and females are 1.8 meters tall. Both men and women have very strong bodies, obvious muscles, and are very strong at first glance. By comparison, Chen Shanhai is indeed weak. Not long after, the two walked to a corner of the residential area. Most of the houses in our tribe are occupied, except for 3 more remote ones here. Tu Kula pointed to 3 houses in the corner and said. Chen Shanhai looked along. The house is made of wood, which is not well done and can be described as leaking air everywhere. But now they really only have this level, and Chen Shanhai doesn't care either. Left and right are just temporary accommodations. Sure, it's not bad. Chen Shanhai nodded. Tu Kila chuckled and said, that's right. Our tribe's houses are considered very good among several neighboring tribes. You go ahead and take a look. I have a lot of things to do and I'll bring them to you when it's time for dinner. Okay, thank you very much. Chen Shanhai expressed his gratitude and felt very lucky to have met Tu Kula in his heart. If there is no one around, it will be much more difficult to start the game on your own. Thank you. No need to thank you, I'll leave first. After speaking, Tu Kula ran away quickly. It seems very uncomfortable to respond and thank you. Chen Shanhai didn't care and went to the room to look around. A very rudimentary house, with all the furniture made of wooden pillars, whether it's beds, tables, or benches. The plants here are truly robust and natural resources. Chen Shanhai took a brief look and then went outside. At this moment, his face showed excitement. After being dusty for so long, I can finally cultivate. When Chen Shanhai first arrived in this world, he felt that his body's qi and blood were more active, and his understanding of strength was more obvious. Now that he has time to practice, he can't wait to experience it. Stand still, spread your legs apart, and adjust your breathing step by step. Chen Shanhai learned the 8 extremes fist. This is a very powerful fist technique that can greatly increase killing power in a short period of time. Someone once said, Tai Chi stays indoors for 10 years and kills people in the year of the 8 extremes. In this chaotic era, it is very appropriate to learn this powerful and deadly boxing technique. As Chen Shanhai calmed down and felt the surge of his body's strength, he began to move with each punch and foot. Qi and blood flow, and the body's exertion becomes clear. Every move seems to become much smoother. Mingjin is the highest level of martial arts. It refers to realizing one's own strength, and each punch mobilizes enough strength from bottom to top. The strength is smooth, and with one punch, the bones inside the body explode. At this moment, Chen Shanhai was punching and making sounds all around. The movement of the body's strength becomes increasingly clear, and the perception of Mingjin in the heart also becomes stronger. It seems that the window paper can be pierced in the next moment. But this layer of window paper is hard for Chen Shanhai to figure out. Although there have been many advancements over and over again, there is still a slight gap from Mingjin. Ultimately, it's because the qi and blood are too low. Chen Shanhai sighed. My current qi and blood are only 1.5, and there is still a considerable distance from 2 cards. Although the uniqueness of this world allows for a clearer understanding of the movement of energy, it is still somewhat difficult to rely on 1.5 qi and blood to break through the clear energy. If it's possible to add some more, that would be great. Just as Chen Shanhai was pondering, Tu Kila ran over not far away. Here comes the meat. Chen Shanhai took a look. I saw Tu Kila holding a stone slab in his hand, with a freshly roasted piece of animal meat placed on top of it. The animal meat is a bit dark, and some unknown seasoning is sprinkled on top. Chen Shanhai took over to express his gratitude. If it's not enough to eat, tell me, what else? Enough is enough. This portion of meat is given according to their appetite, which is definitely too much for oneself. Just eat enough, you can eat first and I'll leave. After receiving the meat, Chen Shanhai came to the room. But watching this piece of meat suddenly go blind. There are no utensils. Forget it, just tear it off with your hands. Wearing cutlery back is not worth it. So Chen Shanhai slowly tore open the animal meat with his hands and ate it. The taste is a bit strange, and it's also a bit cheesy. However, just like the one I ate before, it is rich in energy and can increase body strength whether I eat or exercise. The reason why the people here are so powerful is not only due to the world, but also due to this kind of animal meat. Chen Shanhai couldn't eat any more after eating half of it. He felt warm all over, with the power of qi and blood spreading throughout his body. So he hurried outside to fight. Perhaps it was Chen Shanhai's first time eating so much, and he felt his whole body become more active. Physical strength has skyrocketed. As the body surges and the 8 extremes fist swings, the massive energy inside the body is gradually being refined. At the same time, the strength inside the body also becomes clearer. Chen Shanhai closed his eyes and realized that suddenly, blessings come to his soul. A punch blasted towards the void. Bang! A loud explosion came from the body. Chen Shanhai's face was overjoyed. Mingjin, it's done. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Certified Warriors. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Certified Warriors Mingjin, that's Mingjin. Wang Meng said that he might achieve Mingjin by practicing for another 3 to 5 years. This data is similar to my own estimate. 3 to 5 years. Unexpectedly, I was able to obtain the 2 realms pearl that shuttles through 2 realms. And that world is still so friendly to body refining martial arts. In just a few hours, I have already reached Ming's strength and my qi and blood strength have also been improved to a certain extent. This was something I couldn't even think about before. With this reliance, even higher realms are not unattainable, let alone energy dissipation. Chen Shanhai is very excited now and feels that his future is promising. At this moment it was already dark, and Chen Shanhai thought for a moment before returning to the wooden house. He closed his eyes and thought for a moment. With the distortion of light and shadow, he instantly returned to earth. Opening his eyes and looking at the familiar white wall in front of him, Chen Shanhai turned his head and looked out the window. The earth is also dark, and familiar residential buildings have already lit up. It's already dark on earth. Chen Shanhai pondered that next time he went, it would be best to bring something to test the time and see if there was a time difference between the 2 realms, and what the proportion of time passing was. Speaking of which, what name should we give to that world? Chen Shanhai pondered. That was the tribal era, where civilization was ignorant. But there are so many strange and powerful beasts, with immense power. So many strange beasts seem to be somewhat similar to what is said in the classic of mountains and seas, just called the mountain and sea realm, as if their names are the same. Chen Shanhai chuckled lightly and shook his head. Afterwards, it will be called the Shanhaiji. The next morning, Chen Shanhai and his family had breakfast and left. The target is the Guangzhou Martial Arts Association. As for the purpose, it is naturally to certify as a warrior. Since ancient times, martial arts have been a taboo for chivalrous individuals, and having the power without restraint can lead to a surge in social crime rates. But fortunately, after the first 3 months of governance, a series of policies were introduced to restore social security to its previous level. The most joyful policy among the people is the military subsidy. As long as you reach the level of Wudao Mingjin, you will receive a monthly living allowance of 2,000 yuan. The dark energy is 5,000, and the transformation energy is 10,000. That is to say, as long as you obtain a martial arts certificate, you will have no worries about food and clothing in the future. This not only aims to stabilize society, but also encourages the public to practice martial arts. Chen Shanhai's parents are just ordinary working class, and their family's annual income is only around 100,000 yuan. Therefore, it is difficult to have much support for Chen Shanhai's martial arts practice. Now that I have achieved success in martial arts, I naturally need to subsidize my family. Although relying on the Two Realms Pearl can earn a lot of money, financial freedom is very easy. But it's also difficult to explain the source by oneself. Therefore, a visible income is necessary. Soon, Chen Shanhai arrived at the location of the Guangzhou Martial Arts Association. As a martial arts association located in a state, its decoration is naturally grand and covers a vast area. "Sir, may I ask if you need anything?" As soon as Chen Shanhai stepped into the association, a young woman stepped forward to receive him from behind. I glanced at her unexpectedly and said, "I need to obtain martial arts certification." "Okay, please come here to fill out the application form." Chen Shanhai followed the instructions of the staff to complete all tasks and then went to the certification room. As soon as I arrived, I heard a cry of surprise coming from inside. Qi and blood are 2.2 cards, and surprisingly, they only exceeded the minimum standard of 0.2 points before realizing the mystery of power operation and becoming a wise and powerful warrior. What a genius! Chen Shanhai fixed his gaze on it. A middle-aged man stood in front of the silver instrument in the spacious certification room before the meeting, his face sighing. At this moment, the young man lying on the instrument also walked down, looking proud. "That's nature, my master always said I'm a genius." The examiner heard this and said curiously, "Who is your master?" "Tai Chi Master Li Baoguo." "I didn't expect it to be the disciple of Master Hua Jin, Li Baoguo. He is truly a master and a master." Watching the two of them sing and reconcile, Chen Shanhai waited for a while before speaking out, "Hello, I'm here to authenticate." The two of them didn't react much when interrupted by Chen Shanhai. The examiner turned his head to look at the young man in front of him and smiled, saying, "Wu Zaishi, right. Your assessment has already passed. Just wait outside the hall for a while, and someone will issue the certificate to you." "Okay, goodbye." Wu Zaishi glanced at Chen Shanhai and turned around to leave. The examiner glanced at Chen Shanhai and his face remained unchanged. "Come on, lie down in this instrument and test your qi and blood." Good. Chen Shanhai nodded and took 2 steps forward, lying down on this CT-like instrument. As the machine ran, a special suction force was generated, and then Chen Shanhai felt his body's qi and blood suddenly become active. This kind of activity is different from being in the mountains and seas, as it not only has no benefits but also has negative effects. It seems to be a riot of qi and blood, with a sense of confusion. But fortunately, this feeling quickly disappeared. As the machine came to a stop, a mechanical sound came on. Qi and blood are 1.75 calories. 1.75. The examiner paused for a moment and frowned as he looked at Chen Shanhai beside him. As is well known, the basic qi in blood for becoming a Mingjin is 2 points. It is difficult to feel the sensation of strength swimming in the body below 2 points. It is extremely difficult to become a Mingjin. Like the person before, reaching 2.2 points in qi and blood is already considered a genius. But what does his 1.75 mean? Are you sure you can play with Ming energy? The examiner's face was somewhat displeased, thinking he was here to play. At this moment, Chen Shanhai was pondering his own vitality and did not see the examiner's displeasure. After all, before entering the mountain and sea realm, I had only 1.5 points of qi and blood, but I didn't expect to increase by 0.25 points after just a few hours. I am Mingjin. As Chen Shanhai spoke, he set up a fist frame of the 8 extremes fist, and with one punch, he made an explosive sound. Seeing such obvious signs, the examiner was completely bewildered. Sleeping slot. It's really Mingjin. The examiners are all confused. Can one's qi and blood of 1.75 even perceive the power of enlightenment? Looking back, it seems like I only realized it with 2.5 calories of qi and blood. But that's already considered good. But what kind of ghost is Chen Shanhai? The examiner was confused, and the subsequent authentication steps were a bit dizzy. Watching Chen Shanhai leave the assessment room, he lowered his head and glanced at the documents in his hand. Yang's martial arts school. At this moment, Chen Shanhai had already walked out of the Martial Arts Association, holding the Martial Arts Mingjin certification certificate in his hand, and his face was full of joy. 2,000 yuan per month. And right at the entrance of the Martial Arts Association, two men also arrived here. One of the men was wearing a white training suit and had strong muscles. This person is Wang Meng from the Yang Family Martial Arts School. He looked at his back holding the certificate of martial arts strength, lost in thought. How do you feel? Like that back is a bit like Chen Shanhai. Murmuring, he shook his head for a moment and said, it shouldn't be. His qi and blood are far apart, and it will take at least 3 years to reach Mingjin. The young man next to him curiously asked, Chen Shanhai. That one. He came in the same batch as you, but his talent and resources are not as good as yours, and he hasn't reached Mingjin yet. Oh. Li Qi stopped talking when he heard it. It's just a weak person who doesn't even have enough strength. Let's go and verify the dark power. Wang Meng spoke with an excited expression on his face. I didn't expect to bring out a dark warrior myself. Although his master is not himself, most of the time he teaches himself. It can also be considered as a half-teacher. He is also happy to be able to teach such a disciple. Quickly, the two arrived at the certification room. The certification room of Dark Jin and Ming Jin are the same. At this moment, the two of them came in and Wang Meng said hello. Master Lu, I have brought someone to authenticate. At this moment, Lu Qingtian was looking at Chen Shanhai's information. When he heard Wang Meng's words, he turned his head and was stunned for a moment. Why do you guys from the Yang Family Martial Arts School have one front foot and one back foot? Tell me, is this also a bright energy with less than 2 calories of qi and blood? Upon hearing his words, Wang Meng looked bewildered. I brought him to verify the dark power. How can I achieve the bright power with less than 2 points of qi and blood? You don't know. Lu Qingtian was stunned for a moment, then handed the information in his hand to Wang Meng. Isn't Chen Shanhai from your Yang Martial Arts School? Wang Meng took the information from his hand and looked at it. Name. Chen Shanhai level. Mingjin qi and blood. 1.75 certification passed. Sleeping slot. Wang Meng exclaimed in an instant, his eyes wide open. Chen Shanhai, this child, has actually broken through Mingjin. Qi and blood less than 2 calories. Request for recommended tickets, end of this chapter. Chapter 6. Powerful Forging Method. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Powerful Forging Method. Chen Shanhai didn't know that Wang Meng knew he had reached Mingjin. He is currently flipping through the warrior certificate in his hand. On the first page of the certificate is your basic information and certification strength. On the second page, there are some privileges and responsibilities. The most concerning thing for Chen Shanhai is the third point. Warriors can purchase and carry cold weapons. After the revival of spiritual energy, countless wild animals in some famous mountains and rivers have undergone evolution, and their powerful strength is frightening. Unfortunately, there is a high probability that the technological weapons that humans take pride in attacking them will malfunction. In theory, this is impossible. After all, human weapons are based on the most fundamental laws of physics. No matter how the world changes, it should not cause weapons to malfunction. But this did happen. This has also led to many conspiracy theories, and there is still no explanation to this day. So, in situations where hot weapons have a very high failure rate, the effect of cold weapons becomes prominent. Even if a warrior wants to kill beasts of the same level, it is very difficult. After all, the human body has not evolved aggressive weapons that are as sharp as wild beasts. So, although warriors equipped with cold weapons will significantly increase their killing power and cause greater damage to society, But there's nothing we can do, the enemy is at hand. Besides, even without swords, the killing power of a warrior using a kitchen knife is not much lower than that of a cold weapon. Under such circumstances, it's better to just let go. Cold weapons. I really want them, but unfortunately I don't have enough money. Chen Shanhai pondered in his heart. Next time he went in, he would look for something that could be sold and made money on Earth. Not to mention how much you earn, at the very least you need to have the most basic things. Not long after, Chen Shanhai returned home and said to his family not to cook his own food. Then he went back to his room, recorded the time on the clock, and activated the Two Realms Pearl. In the kitchen, the mother searched with a puzzled expression on her face. I remember putting salt here yesterday. At this moment, in the realm of mountains and seas. Chen Shanhai returned to his small wooden house. Then he took out an electronic watch from the two world beads. Well, it works. Looking at the still-changing watch, Chen Shanhai nodded. However, in order to prevent the laws of this world from affecting electronic products, Chen Shanhai also came up with a countdown hourglass. This hourglass takes 4 hours to complete and can be compared to an electronic watch. After finishing all of this, Chen Shanhai opened the door. And the big man in front of him stunned him for a moment. Tu Kula, why are you here? Tu Kila scratched her head upon hearing this and said, the clan chief said you're not familiar with anything when you come to the tribe. If there's anything I can do for you, It seems like that's what he said. Upon hearing this, Chen Shanhai understood with a slight thought. That Tushan chieftain is not at ease with himself, he is monitoring himself. However, it doesn't matter. Anyway, I just want a place where I can practice martial arts with peace of mind and have resources. After thinking for a moment, Chen Shanhai said, do you have a place specifically for exercising your physique here? Yes, are you going? Chen Shanhai nodded. Oh, then I'll take you there. Tu Kula patted her chest. So the two of them walked towards the training ground. Along the way, there were many women pointing and whispering to Chen Shanhai and his companions, not knowing what to say. However, this kind of gaze made Chen Shanhai feel a bit scared. It is said that during the tribal era, he fell in love with his spouse and knocked him unconscious with a stick from behind, dragging him back to his room, and then the two became a family. No, it's not here, is it? Chen Shanhai asked the question in his heart. Tu Quila waved his hand and said, no, we never fight from behind. Chen Shanhai's mouth twitched. So are you all facing each other head on? Soon, the two arrived at the martial arts training ground of the Tushan tribe. It is somewhat different from what Chen Shanhai imagined. I thought the people here were carrying stones or wrestling in pairs. In short, it is a rather primitive way. But what Chen Shanhai saw was different. They are each doing some special postures. These postures are somewhat like practicing martial arts, but without exerting any strength. If you insist, it's a bit like radio gymnastics. Upon careful observation, Chen Shanhai found that they blushed and had thick necks while performing these movements, seeming very uncomfortable. What are they doing? Forge the body, Tu Quila said indifferently. I know they are forging, but what do these movements mean? Ah, don't you know? Tu Kula scratched her head and said, you know the forging technique too, don't you? You made a lot of noise yesterday, it looks really impressive. Upon hearing this, Chen Shanhai was shocked in his heart. I was actually seen practicing martial arts yesterday, and I haven't paid attention yet. But in the next moment, Chen Shanhai thought of something. Forging method. He thought he was practicing physical fitness yesterday. Although it is indeed possible to forge a body, my own practice seems to be different from the forging methods in their world. Chen Shanhai watched carefully. If you find some people in the martial arts training ground tired, go and lift a big stone. Those stones weighed heavily, and Chen Shanhai felt that he could never lift them. People in this world have great strength. Wait, it may not necessarily be a congenital cause. Tu Ko-la, you said before that you were just an ordinary person, not a warrior. Who can be considered a warrior? Chen Shanhai suddenly thought of this question. If Tu Kunla, who can easily kill Mingjin level creatures, is just an ordinary person, then what level is a warrior? Warrior, if you practice the body forging technique, you will become a warrior. A low-level warrior can kill me with just one punch using his chi and blood. Even without using his chi and blood, I can't handle it. Tu Ko-la said, her eyes full of admiration and expectation. But Chen Shanhai was deeply shocked in his heart. Chi and blood, how can the world here utilize chi and blood? On Earth, although there is a saying about chi and blood value. But in fact, it is an assessment of physical strength. It is not a power that can be freely used by people. The only real strength that can be used is strength. Bright energy, dark energy, and transforming energy. This special way of using power can make people unleash terrifying power. Tu Ko-la can easily kill the Mingjin level. If we were to benchmark against the Earth, we would have to rely on dark power. Facing warriors, they will still be defeated with 3 fists and 2 kicks. So, at the very least, a warrior must have the power to transform their energy. If he had used the chi and blood energy he mentioned, it would probably be comparable to Master Baodan. So, are warriors comparable to holding pills? Chen Shanhai was shocked in his heart, but he could only rely on speculation. After glancing at the bumpy dirt next to him, Chen Shanhai asked, how strong are the strongest warriors you have ever seen? The strongest. Tu Ko-la scratched her head. I once saw a strong warrior in the Blackstone tribe. Facing a warrior holding a bone spear without defense, he couldn't break through his cortex and could easily defeat dozens of warriors. He is the strongest warrior I have ever seen. I heard that he has already cultivated the forging technique to the 2nd level. However, there are still many levels above the 2nd level. The clan leader told me that the strong in this world are as strong as heaven and earth, unimaginable. Tu Ko-la spoke with a hint of longing. Chen Shanhai listened, but another thing came to his mind. Can anyone practice the body forging technique? Well, anyone can do it. So, can I too? Chen Shanhai's eyes lit up instantly. Requesting recommended tickets. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Obtaining Forging Method. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Obtaining Forging Method. Forging technique is the way to enhance strength in this world. The path of a world's power system. This represents the essence of the world. If he learns this method, Chen Shanhai believes that it will definitely greatly enhance his own strength. There is just one more question at the moment: where did it come from? Chen Shanhai looked at the dirt in front of him and gradually had an idea in his heart. You can definitely practice the forging technique, but don't you have it? Tu Ko-la scratched her head and said. I have some confusion in my heart. Chen Shanhai didn't explain either. Earth martial arts is a way to develop the potential of the body, starting from the details. The improvement of physical fitness is actually not high. I want to learn the forging technique of your tribe, can you teach me? Chen Shanhai looked at him. It's not possible, it's not possible. Tu Ko-la quickly waved her hand. The forging technique is a treasure in our tribe. The clan leader said it cannot be taught to others, otherwise it will be expelled from the tribe. I cannot give it. Chen Shanhai was not surprised to hear this answer. After all, in this world, strength represents absolute status. This kind of thing will be strictly guarded no matter where it is. Chen Shanhai just casually asked and didn't really think he could give it. Can you take me to meet your clan leader? I want to talk to him. Ah. See the clan leader. Tu Ko-la scratched his head, feeling that he should be able to, but as an ordinary person, he can't even see the clan leader. Is it really good to find the clan leader for this kind of thing? Just looking at Chen Shanhai's hopeful gaze, he gritted his teeth and said, "Okay, I'll go find the clan chief and see if he'll see you." "Okay. Chen Shanhai should go down. In fact, I took the initiative to meet with the Tushan clan chief myself, but I don't feel very good about it. With Tushan following me, I feel that the success rate will be higher." Not long after, the two arrived at the residence of the chieftain Tushan. Unlike ordinary people's homes, this place is more like a yurt, but made of wood. A conical ceiling and cylindrical walls. The estimated land area is about 100 or 200 square meters, and there is vegetation decoration around it, which makes it clear that it is not an ordinary place. "I'll go talk to the clan chief, you wait first." Tu Kola gave a warning and then entered inside. Chen Shanhai waited quietly outside. Not long after, the door was opened, but what came out was not Tu Kola, but the clan leader Tu Shan. Behind the earth mountain stood a strong and oppressive man, who followed behind the earth bumpkin. "I heard Tu Kila say that the distinguished guest wants to see me, please come inside." Tu Shan warmly said. Chen Shanhai nodded and said, "Thank you very much." Then a group of 4 walked into the room. The room is relatively spacious, with a huge skeleton that looks a bit like a skull in addition to the basic furniture. But these skulls are also too big, aren't they? Chen Shanhai noticed that the skull of one of the creatures was over 2 meters high. It was simply terrifying. This is just a skull, how huge can his body be? Chen Shanhai dare not think. This is the head of the divine wood ox, a second-order barbarian beast. It took a lot of effort for our tribe to kill him back then. Seeing Chen Shanhai staring at his skull, Tushan proudly introduced the tribe's past achievements. Second-order savage beast. Chen Shanhai murmured in his heart. Is the body of a second-order beast already that big? With such a large body, their strength is naturally very strong, and their transformation energy is definitely not their opponent. Even if they hold pills or even have strong energy, they won't be their opponent, right? But this creature was actually hunted and killed by the White Soil tribe. This small tribe. It seems that your tribe has a glorious history. Chen Shanhai nodded. Tushan smiled without speaking. "I heard from Tu Kila that you want to learn our tribe's forging technique." "Yes, I don't know. Is that possible?" Chen Shanhai looked at Tushan and asked. Tushan pondered for a moment, but before he could speak, the strong man behind him couldn't help but snort coldly. With a displeased expression on his face, he said, "The forging technique is the foundation of a tribe. How can I teach you it? You should just die with this heart." Chen Shanhai glanced at him and before he could speak, Tu Shan scolded him, "Tu Chang, how can you speak? This Shanhai is a distinguished guest of our tribe." "Humph." Tu Chang stubbornly turned his head and snorted coldly. "Oh, I made the guest laugh. I hope we don't see him in the same way," sighed Tushan. Chen Shanhai shook his head naturally and said, "How could that be? Strong people naturally have some personalities." Tushan nodded and said, "I can teach you the forging technique, but it's just that our tribe will eventually have objections, so." Chen Shanhai understood, this is something he wants. "Hi, tell me earlier. There's nothing else, salt is enough to handle." But even so, Chen Shanhai did not readily agree. But rather make a hesitant appearance. "If it's fine salt, I don't have much left. I don't know how much the White Mountain clan chief thinks is suitable." Bai Shan doesn't think Chen Shanhai's words are false either. After all, things that are so precious and difficult to preserve are really not worth carrying. In addition, there is indeed no place on Chen Shanhai to hold things, indicating that there are not many. But there are indeed some. He felt a hint of greed in his heart, but looking at Chen Shanhai's special clothes still suppressed that greed. The methods of the city-state people are unimaginable and cannot bring disaster to the tribe. "Then let's take half of the amount we gave last time." Tushan hesitated for a moment. He wanted a pack of quantity, but it felt a bit too dark. Chen Shanhai wouldn't agree. But in fact, he didn't know that for Chen Shanhai, there wasn't much difference between 1 pack of salt and 2 packs of salt. However, Chen Shanhai still knows when it comes to selling for a price. What? Half of it? Chen Shanhai pretended to be startled. Well, 1/3 of it is also possible, Tu Shan chuckled. Chen Shanhai frowned and made an expression of unwillingness to agree. But after glancing at Tu Kunla, he made an appearance of reluctantly agreeing because of Tu Kunla's face. Since that's the case, let's just give it 1/3. When I go back to my room, I'll have Tu Kunla bring it to you. Okay, Tu Chiang, you go and take out our tribe's forging technique and hand it over to the distinguished guest. Tu Shan hastily agreed, fearing that Chen Shanhai would turn back. I'll take it. Is it difficult for me to take it? Tu Shan scolded. Tu Chang looked reluctant, but still obeyed Tu Shan's orders. Not long after, a book of animal skins was handed over to Chen Shanhai. Looking at the forging technique with text and pictures recorded in his hand, Chen Shanhai was overjoyed in his heart, but he still suppressed his excitement and only thanked him with a slightly cheerful expression. Since that's the case, I'll go back with 2 kila and give him the fine salt. Okay, your esteemed guest, take your time. Tu Shan smiled and waved his hand. After Chen Shanhai left, Tu Chang couldn't help but ask, Clan leader, the forging technique is the foundation of our tribe. How can you give him an outsider? What if he teaches others or becomes stronger, and our tribe cannot suppress him? There are actually quite a few opinions within the tribe regarding this issue. Some people are afraid that Chen Shanhai will bring disaster to the tribe. But Bai Shan still opposes public opinion. The biggest reason that reassures everyone is Chen Shanhai's strength. Chen Shanhai is really weak, as everyone can see. So even if most people live with Chen Shanhai, there is no sense of crisis. After all, his strength is not strong. If he wants to, he can kill with a backhand. But now that the forging technique is sent out, what if it makes him stronger and everyone can't suppress him? Regarding this, Bai Shan just smiled and said, Tu Chang, how long did it take you to become a warrior from obtaining the forging technique to transforming your qi and blood? Tu Chang hesitated for a moment and replied, 5 years, right? Yeah, as the strongest genius in the tribe, you've been using it for 5 years. So how long does it take for him? Bai Shan smiled, a sense of superiority emerged in his heart that everything was under control. Don't worry, not to mention you who have achieved the 3 transformations of qi and blood, even an ordinary adult can't beat you. I just want to squeeze out all his value now, and when he has nothing left, just drive him away. It's really not possible, just kill it. Anyway, he's just a weak person. Can we still turn things around? Requesting recommended tickets. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Cultivation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This translator is experiencing an error, please try another translator. Chapter 9. Soaring Qi and Blood, The Way Ahead. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Soaring Qi and Blood, The Way Ahead. After the first round of exercise, Chen Shanhai used up all his energy and practiced the 8 extremes fist again, experiencing the surge of strength. I am currently at the Mingjin level, and my efficiency in forging has increased by 3 times. If one can improve to the level of dark power and further control the power, then this efficiency can be further improved. As for how much improvement has not been achieved, I dare not say much, but at least it can be doubled on top of 135 times. By then, the efficiency will be 270 times higher. At the thought of this number, Chen Shanhai was excited all over, and his motivation to practice martial arts greatly increased. So I practiced until the evening. On the way, when the hourglass was over, Chen Shanhai teleported back and checked the time with the Earth's side. The time flow velocity of the mountain and sea boundary is the same as that of the Earth. Not only the time flow rate, but even a day seems to be 20.4 hours, alternating day and night, just like the Earth. This result surprised Chen Shanhai a bit, but he didn't think much about it. After all, my current level is too low, thinking too much is useless. However, at dinner in the evening, Chen Shanhai ordered 2 more pieces of animal meat and ate 3 pieces at a time. Although 2 Kila was a bit surprised, he still reported and indeed brought 3 pieces of animal meat. It seems that Tushan is indeed trustworthy in this regard. However, since that's convenient. As 3 pieces of animal meat were consumed, a hot current flowed throughout the body, even showing signs of burning all over. This is an oversupply. Scared, Chen Shanhai quickly began to exercise his digestion. 3 pieces of animal meat have a lot of energy, and Chen Shanhai exercised for a full 3 hours this time before fully digesting it. I can feel that there has been significant progress this time. Chen Shanhai felt delighted in his heart. As is well known, there was a period of rapid growth at the beginning of fitness. Just like an exam, it's easy to increase from 0 to 50 or 60 points, and only 90 to 100 points will be slightly more challenging. But now Chen Shanhai is probably in the range of 20.3%, and the growth rate of forging is advancing rapidly. After finishing work, Chen Shanhai returned to the small wooden cabin and activated the 2 realms pearl to return to Earth. Looking at the familiar room, Chen Shanhai felt a little calm in his heart. Although the mountains and seas are great and one can leave at any time, home always gives people a special feeling. Come to the kitchen. A package of unopened salt was prominently placed on the cabinet. This left Chen Shanhai stunned for a moment. He lowered his head and opened the cabinet door, where various seasonings were neatly arranged, including a bag of used fine salt. My mother bought 2 bags of salt this time. Chen Shanhai fell silent, feeling a little touched in his heart. I have been very abnormal these past 2 days. Whether it's staying indoors all day without eating or taking away fine salt from home. My mother did indeed notice something was wrong, but he never asked and only silently supported me in his own way. The next morning, Chen Shanhai had breakfast at home and explained to his mother that he was currently doing well without worrying. Then he arrived at the Yang Martial Arts School. I have reached the level of bright energy now, but I only have a partial understanding of dark energy. I still need to seek advice on this aspect. However, when Chen Shanhai arrived at the martial arts school, he found that senior brother Wang Meng was not there. So he walked to the specialized qi and blood testing instrument inside the martial arts school. The qi and blood tester in the martial arts school cannot be compared with the one in the Martial Arts Association, with a 0.1% error in both directions. As Chen Shanhai conducted the inspection, not long after, an electronic audio system began to sound. Qi and blood are 2.3 calories. 2.3, Chen Shanhai was stunned for a moment. He knew that his qi and blood would soar after yesterday's exercise, but he didn't expect it to be so fierce. 2.3, an increase of 0.55 compared to yesterday. Lying trough. This is a bit scary. Even though the instrument error in the martial arts school is relatively large, reporting an extra 0.1, it still increases the qi and blood by 0.45. This is increasing too quickly. If we continue like this, we won't be able to reach our body's limit in a month. Chen Shanhai murmured. And just as Chen Shanhai was pondering, a familiar voice rang out. Chen Shanhai, congratulations. Chen Shanhai unexpectedly turned his head and found that it was senior brother Wang Meng with a smile on his face. Senior brother, congratulations on what? Wang Meng hugged Chen Shanhai's shoulder and said with a smile, you guys are hiding quite deep. You even kept it from me. Did you go to the Martial Arts Association to certify Mingjin yesterday? Upon hearing these words, Chen Shanhai was stunned. Although I did want to tell him, I was surprised to be seen yesterday. Did you see it? Well, just as you left, I saw your back. I was a bit hesitant to recognize the Mingjin certificate in my hand. I didn't expect it. Wang shook his head and gave Chen Shanhai a heavy pat on the back. I used to say that you had to take at least 3 years to reach Mingjin, but in the blink of an eye, you certified Mingjin. Aren't you slapping me in the face? Well, I just had a chance breakthrough in my spiritual well-being, Chen Shanhai said in a chat. After all, he never expected to have the opportunity to obtain the Two Realms Pearl, and the development of the situation was indeed somewhat unexpected. Hey, don't worry, I'm glad you can break through Mingjin. This proves that hardworking people will not be let down by heaven. Chen Shanhai smiled. Maybe. Hey, Brother Wang, why are you going to the Martial Arts Association? Did you break through your energy? How could there be such a good breakthrough in Huajin? Wang Meng sighed. So you are. It's Li Qi, this kid is indeed a genius. After practicing martial arts for a year, he has already reached the level of dark energy, with 3.5 points of qi and blood. It seems that he has a chance to enter the quarterfinals of the Guangzhou Youth Martial Arts Competition. Speaking of this, Wang Meng also had a happy expression on his face. After all, he was in the martial arts school before his spiritual energy was restored, and he was already an old man. He is also proud of the prosperity of the martial arts school. Qi and blood are 3.5 calories, dark energy. Chen Shanhai remained slightly silent. If it was in the past, it was an unattainable dream for oneself. But now, I increased by about 0.5 calories in a day, and it wouldn't even take me a week to surpass him. It's really. Things are unpredictable. Chen Shanhai sighed in his heart. Suddenly, something came to his mind and he curiously asked, Senior brother, if only qi and blood don't have strength, how much qi and blood do we need to compare with Huajin? Wang Meng was stunned upon hearing this and said, are you talking about monster beasts? Most of them only have a handful of strength and cannot operate with strength. To know this, the first thing to know is how much qi and blood is the key to energy transformation. 2 points of qi and blood are the threshold for bright energy, 3 points of dark energy, and 4 points of transforming energy. Only after the 4 cards of qi and blood become Huajin, can the mysterious use of Huajin reach the limit of the human body, which is the 5 cards of qi and blood. Is 5 calories the limit of the human body? Chen Shanhai asked curiously. That's right, the 5 cards are the limit of the human body's qi and blood. To continue improving, you need to break through the master of pill embracing. Under the integration of mixed elements, you can condense qi and blood into the human body's great pill. However, that is already another realm, not within the scope of the human body. According to scientific calculations, the human body's limit is 5 calories. As for what you said about relying solely on qi and blood rather than strength, it's probably about increasing 1 card above their respective minimum standards. That is to say, the bright energy of the 3 cards qi and blood is on par with that of the 2 cards qi and blood, while the dark energy transforms into energy in the same way. Once the difference between the 2 cards is exceeded, it's too big. A 10-point drop in strength is useless no matter how exquisite the strength is. Speaking, Wang Meng also sighed on his face. Why can monsters have similar or even suppressive power to humans when they don't have enough strength? You rely on a huge amount of qi and blood, which can be reduced by 10 times with one force. No matter how exquisite your strength is, can you withstand a single blow? Upon hearing this, Chen Shanhai felt lost in thought. My body's limit is definitely more than 5 calories after being nourished by the special environment of mountains and seas. That is to say, although it is difficult to comprehend the movement of strength, one can rely on the strong strength of qi and blood to reduce it by 10 times in one go, achieving the goal of using clear strength to counter transformation strength. And with one's own speed of improvement, this time is not far away. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Strength soars up, 5 HP cards. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 10. Strength soars up, 5 HP cards. After understanding all of this, Chen Shanhai did not forget the main matter and began to ask Wang Meng about the dark energy aspect. Wang Meng also gladly taught. Bright and strong, dark and soft. Like Mingjin, hitting requires energy storage. If energy is not stored, the power will be greatly reduced. The strength may vary. With just a gentle tap or a casual touch, the explosive force is enough to cause powerful killing power. In TV dramas, fighting cows across mountains is a profound use of dark energy. However, the comprehension of dark energy is very difficult. If strength can be achieved through hard work, then dark strength is where talent is truly needed at the beginning. Without a heart that perceives strength, it is difficult to comprehend dark energy. To be honest, before Chen Shanhai reached the level of Ming power, Wang Meng believed that it would be difficult for him to reach the level of dark power in his lifetime. But after seeing him break through the Ming energy with 1.75 points of qi and blood, he suddenly felt hope in his heart. It seems that it's not impossible either. But in fact, this is very difficult. Chen Shanhai is in the practice room, while Wang Meng is providing personal guidance. Understand the feeling when you exert your strength, remember the path of the force's movement, and then simulate this feeling in your body before striking it out. Wang Meng looked at Chen Shanhai, who was waving his fists and feet, and gave him some guidance. But at this moment, Chen Shanhai frowned because it was too difficult. How could it be possible to exert force even without exerting force? Just as Chen Shanhai wanted to inquire about the details, an unsociable voice rang out again. I'm Wang Meng, why are you still pointing him out? A person who doesn't have any intelligence, why waste time? This person is the Huajin, Qian Sheng, who denied Chen Shanhai a few days ago. He looked at Wang Meng with a sigh and shook his head. Li Qi has broken through his dark energy, and I will give him guidance. Although he cannot achieve the goal of turning energy before the competition, he still needs to strive for the top 8. After finishing speaking, he left directly, and Wang Meng didn't even give him a chance to explain. As for Chen Shanhai, he didn't even take a glance. Wang Meng opened his mouth, but as he watched his distant figure, he still didn't speak. But instead, he turned to look at Chen Shanhai and comforted, you don't have to listen to him. If he knew you had reached Mingjin, he wouldn't think that way. Perhaps, Chen Shanhai's face remained calm. If it had been before, he would have been unhappy in his heart, but now he doesn't care anymore. You look down on me now, wait for a while before you look back. It should be noted that after 3 days of separation, one should be greeted with great admiration. However, having this incident did indeed affect my mood. After practicing a few times, I went home. My current focus is still on qi and blood, and I need to understand my strength. I don't know when I can improve my progress a bit. Qi and blood are different, as long as you exercise, you can always improve, and now you are still in the stage of rapid growth and your strength is soaring. Chen Shanhai thought and walked towards home. Passing by the supermarket, Chen Shanhai looked at it and pondered slightly. I will need to consume a large amount of resources from the White Soil tribe in the future. Although Bai Shan has said he will be responsible for everything, it is inevitable that he will feel unhappy over time. I still have a long time to stay, so it's best to give them some extra sweetness. Anyway, the cost is very low for oneself. So Chen Shanhai went to the supermarket to buy some miscellaneous things. In total, it doesn't cost 10 yuan, but it's better than being crushed by civilization. In that world, it's all top-notch luxury goods. The days ahead were very dull, and Chen Shanhai was addicted to physical exercise, even letting go of his strength and insight. Immerse oneself wholeheartedly in the pleasure of improving qi and blood. This naturally consumes a lot of resources, consuming 3 pieces of animal meat per meal, 3 times a day. That's 9 yuan. There were quite a few of them, and after 3 days, even the expression on Tu Ku La's face changed a bit. After Chen Shanhai realized it, he took out the 13 fragrances he had purchased. This top-notch seasoning caused a sensation in the white soil tribe as soon as it was taken out. Do you still remember that day? The entire tribe was filled with tears, shouting that death was worth it. Chen Shanhai didn't expect such a huge sensation and even felt a bit at a loss. But thinking about it is not incomprehensible. After all, the barbecue here is already very dry and unpleasant to eat. The seasoning only consists of salt stones, which have a strange taste and impurities. It can be said that they spent the first half of their lives eating shit. No. Shit doesn't even taste that bad. So it was only after Chen Shanhai brought out this top-notch seasoning that there was such a vibration. But this also made Chen Shanhai understand that the value of this thing is much higher than fine salt. Of course, taking out 13 fragrances is not just about boosting favorability. Even Chen Shanhai couldn't bear the unpleasant taste of the beast meat anymore, so he used 13 spices to season it. However, Chen Shanhai did not give them much, only treating them to eat once. But even once, their gaze towards Chen Shanhai was very friendly. The power of civilization can shake the soul. In the following days, Chen Shanhai ate 9 pieces of meat a day, but they were no longer as unhappy as before. Even the animal meat parts that Chen Shanhai was given to eat were of high quality and not so dry. After eating delicious food, practicing martial arts has become more effective. 1 week later at this moment, Chen Shanhai was exercising in front of his wooden house, and every move became very powerful. The strength has greatly improved compared to a week ago. Qi and blood surged, and my ears breathed like flowing water. My strength has improved by countless times compared to a week ago, and my exercise efficiency has also begun to slow down. Chen Shanhai fell into contemplation after finishing work. Chen Shanhai is definitely not a student in his 20s or 30s, and the exact amount requires instrument testing. However, since the efficiency of exercise has slowed down, it proves that I have approached the limit of the human body. Approaching slowly towards this speed. So, Chen Shanhai directly teleported back to Earth. At this time, the Earth is still daylight, but it is already 5 or 6 o'clock, and the sunset is everywhere. Chen Shanhai kept coming to the Yang Martial Arts School without stopping. Because it was close to the meal, there were not many people in the Yang Martial Arts School. But this is just right. Arrived next to the Qi and blood detector, set the parameters and lay down. As the detector started, Chen Shanhai felt a familiar sensation that triggered Qi and blood. However, compared to before when I was able to cause a blood and energy riot, now I am able to resist. Just because of the testing, Chen Shanhai did not resist and allowed his Qi and blood to be chaotic. Not long after, the electronic sound system started. Qi and blood are 5.05 calories. As the words fell, Chen Shanhai couldn't help but be surprised in his heart. 505. I actually improved by more than 2 points in a week. But that's not the most important thing yet. The most important thing is that I have exceeded the limits of human body on Earth. Qi and blood at 5.05, the information behind this is truly terrifying. Although it may be an error, it is mostly not. Chen Shanhai's mind was filled with thoughts. I do feel that my efficiency is slowing down today, and it seems that this is because I have exceeded the limits of human body on Earth. But even if it's already exceeded, I can still improve my efficiency significantly. It seems that I have exceeded 5 calories of Qi and blood by no means. More importantly, in terms of Qi and blood alone, I have reached the peak of energy transformation. If based on strength, it is enough to crush the dark energy and compete with the chemical energy. And this was only achieved within less than 10 days after obtaining the 2 realms pearl. It only took less than 10 days for me to grow from a seemingly insignificant person and a weak person to my current strength. This is far from my limit. Embracing pills, vigorous energy, refining gods and martial saints. The road is still quite long. End of this chapter.